Hey everyone, this is Walter, and I'm back here with more posts I found on Reddit. It's once again time to read posts about nice guys, men who are very proud about being nice to women. It's a really bad gimmick to hype yourself up as nice. Let's get started with nice guys from Reddit. So I'm back here today because yesterday I covered part 1 of this, and there is a part 2. To summarize, this 32-year-old man got somewhat intimate with a 19-year-old OP, and then completely lost his mind like they were already dating. When we left off, he was begging for one last hug. I'm pretty sure he thought he could turn it around if he could just touch her. I don't know if I have the right to ask, but if you don't ever want to see me again, can I please have one last hug? It's going to get worse from here, of course. Why am I crying for you? If we wasn't even together like you said, why am I so hurt? Why did I let myself fall for you if it was so easy to ruin everything that could have been? You fell too hard for me. I told you about that. I had some else typed, but I got busy. Just because you're traumatized, because them other lied and told you some bullshit, doesn't mean that I am lying. And forgot what I was on about. That is not the case. I know my worth, and I know what and what not to waste time on. I've learned from my trauma, which is why I know what I need and don't. But you're treating me like if I am everybody else. You're not even giving me the chance, like if everything I've already showed you wasn't worth anything. If I'm not mistaken, these people had met once, and he already decided to show up at her work like a nut job. He probably thought it was normal because she's a waitress and he met her at work, but it's not. You shouldn't bother people while they're at work. It is amazing how he seems to know her motivations better than she does after meeting one time, though. Nah, that's the difference between you and me. I don't treat the person I'm talking to like my past relationships. I know sometimes I say dumb shit, but that's my downfall. But you're doing it right now. No, it's not. You disrespected me, and then you got treated like a who disrespected me. That's the difference. That shit goes for anybody, once I get disrespected. It was a mistake. I was stupid. Are you telling me nobody has the right to make mistakes? I didn't even want to be looking too hard at your boobs on our first date. That's how you know what type of person I am. I know you have been hurt before, and you refuse to go through that again, as you should. And I am telling you, I will never do it again. At least give me a chance to show you that I never repeat my mistakes. This is so desperate that it's actually painful to read. I feel like any woman would run away screaming at this point. She didn't even consider it a date. That's how delusional this guy is. I fell for you because I am not scared to go through the bumps of a relationship. Nobody is perfect, and any relationship has its ups and downs. I am asking you to go through the bumps with me. One thing for sure that I've already shown you is I will never abuse you or mistreat you or cheat on you. I will never call you out your name or intentionally disrespect you. Yeah, you can only expect to be accidentally disrespected all the time with this guy. And how has he proven he won't ever do those things? They haven't even been talking casually for a week. I told you I didn't want to commit. I wanted to see where this goes. Heavy on the I don't want to commit. Because you're scared to give your all to someone who won't give their all to you. And I am already giving you my all. I was already starting to treat you like if you were a part of myself. But that's always been my downfall. I am always giving my all to someone that's so easy to kick me to the curb. Please don't be another one. Let's be the ones for each other that breaks that chain for each other. I am not just asking you to not let go for me, but for you too. Give yourself the opportunity to experience someone who is serious about you, someone who puts you first and gives you their all just as much as you give them you. Let me bounce back from this, as little as it was like you said. Let it only be the first strike like you said, not the last strike. Don't give up on me so easily. God, I feel like it might have been a first strike if he hadn't kept talking. He's gone extremely far into raving lunatic territory at this point. And the next part is extremely painful. He sends a picture of himself crying to this 19-year-old he doesn't really know. Justin, I don't want to be with a bitch boy. You need to work on yourself. I knew all I was doing was making it worse. You're in no condition to be in a relationship. I am not a bitch boy. I just fall hard. I give too much of myself. You're too grown to be acting like this. You're never too grown to have feelings. No, Justin, you're acting obsessive and childish. You can have feelings, you just don't know how to control them. You're right, I am tripping. My emotions have been all over the place these past few days because of a whole bunch of shit that's happening all at once. And that's how I fucked up in the first place. I fucked up and then I kept making it worse. What a dumbass. OMG, control yourself. Stop spilling your feelings all over the place. LOL, nah, I am good, really. I was just saying. Stop victimizing yourself. I am not victimizing myself. I am just recognizing how I am tripping. I had gotten ahead of myself, because to me it feels like we've been together for a long time. LOL, but we wasn't even together. I am trippin'. My bad. Really though, LOL. And you thought you had issues. See, that's your problem. You got too ahead of yourself. I told you I wasn't looking to be in a relationship at the moment. I communicated that to you. I told you not to get attached, and to think level-headed. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe I was meant to teach you a lesson. I know, who seems like the more mature one in this entire conversation? She probably thought there was no way a guy in his 30s would start acting like a child after the first time they got intimate. But this guy is eternal. In 10 years, he'll be in his 40s still doing this shit, and by then his kids will be looking down on his antics. I know. I am tripping. LOL. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think you should talk to young people anymore. LOL, it don't have anything to do with that. Yes, it does. You need to date someone with more experience in life. I think he is trying to manipulate someone younger than him. It just isn't working because she's also smarter than him. Here's a comment I noticed from today's video. I think the last guy is going for a 19-year-old because he thinks she isn't experienced enough to see his BS for BS. And the part about hanging out with his kids is very manipulative. You get the person you want to, bound with the kids so they are more willing to put up with your crap. When I was younger, I dated this one girl, and we babysat a little girl on one of our dates. We were in our 20s, not high school. And later she said, "Blank asked about you. Not going to lie, maybe you want to babysit with her again." Good rule, don't meet anyone's kids until you are sure you really, really like them first. Can't think of much worse than being with someone you really don't like so you don't lose contact with their kids. Fall in love with the kids and the other person can walk all over you. Yeah, I can't believe she warned him not to get attached and he still pulls this "wanna meet my kids" bullshit. It's just my personality. When I like somebody, I get attached. Justin, I'm trying to tell you that's no good. I know. I see now. What? I am back to normal now. Whatever that means. I was talking to a friend, and then what you was telling me at the end helped me snap back. I am never doing that to myself again. So, I guess if you still want to be cool, then I am here, and if not, it was nice knowing you. You really was special to me. I am sorry it was so easy to ruin everything. Lesson learned. I'm sorry it was so easy to ruin everything, as in it's her fault overall. I don't think you learned the right lesson here, Justin. So much manipulation. Jesus. Bullet dodged. What a nice guy loser. I stand by what I said in your other post. Man-child. Trying to groom because everyone else recognizes his bullshit. Ignore him. Don't talk to him at all. If he sends more or keeps forcing himself to talk to you at work, go straight to HR. It might actually be worth going to HR now, so they have a heads up if any problems come up later. Edit, and the picture of him crying. Erg, vomit-inducing. What a loser. That tear is absolutely fake. In slide 6, he says he's not afraid of going through the bumps of the relationship. Yet in the previous messages, he says he said the shit he said because he was afraid of the relationship failing if he didn't act like a horny dork. SMH, he's trying and failing so hard at manipulation. Whomever is clearly coaching him on what to say and work his way out of this does not have all the information of what he did wrong. Okay, so I've got a story here, and this one's from Reddit Nice Guys. I just dumped a really sweet guy, and I'm heartbroken. I, 28 female, know I made the right call, but he was a genuinely good man. Kind, funny, handsome, committed, intelligent, hardworking, helpful around the house, and more. I thought about giving us a second chance so many times, but I knew that would just make it worse in the long run. We met on a dating app, and there were some initial hurdles. We're different races, different religions. He's Hindu, I'm an atheist, and his family is much more conservative than mine. Neither of us cared about these differences though, and we dated heavily for a month. By heavily, I mean he told me he loved me on our third date. I met his family, and there was talk of marriage. The romance was a whirlwind, and for a second there I thought I'd finally found my man. I can't even fathom talking about marriage within a month. Or I guess any frame of time really for me. But damn. But that's the problem with rushing into things. Sometimes you get so caught up in the excitement of a happy relationship that you fail to realize you two aren't actually all that happy. We argued almost every time we hung out, usually about men versus women for some ungodly reason. I don't know what he was going to accomplish by constantly telling me how easy women have it, but what he did accomplish was pissing me off. I actually agreed with him on some points, funnily enough. Like I said, we met on a dating app, and I know from talking to my guy friends that even getting a single match as a man is a Herculean feat. And if you do get a match, you generally have to text for a couple of days only to get ghosted. Women have it rough too, of course, what with dick pics and threats and creeps. But I'd rather wade through a sea of nude men than get nothing but radio silence. If he'd left it at that, maybe we could have worked it out. But he was relentless, almost obsessively so. On our first date, he told me, women only pursue the top 10% of men. To which I said, then why am I on this date with you right now? Neither of us is top 10%. We're regular people, looking for a regular relationship. He'd also bring up the fact that women only date men who are over 6 feet tall. Yeah, I'm taller than him by several inches. Whenever he'd do this, I'd gesture between us and say, what about us? What about me? I'm right here disproving all these facts about what women want. Then he'd tell me I'm obviously an exception. Ladies, I'm not like the other girls apparently. I swear it sounded like he wanted dating to be hopeless. A few days ago, I decided I was going to break up with him. He left for a week-long training today, and my original plan was to break up with him when he got back. We weren't going to be able to see or contact each other while he was away/busy, so I figured after a week apart it'd be easier. I was going to tell him we're not quite right for each other, and it's no one's fault. It's better we figured it out before we wasted months or years of our lives on a relationship that's close but just shy of perfect. Or worse, got married only to realize it's not working. I feel like this guy's been reading a lot of incel rhetoric or something. I can't imagine this. An incel finally gets a girlfriend, and instead of moving on with his life, he just keeps ranting and tries to blackpill his girlfriend so she can be miserable with him. Foolishness. Well, that all went to shit when we were at dinner last night, and again, he brought up how life is so much harder for men than women. I admit it, I fucking snapped. We started arguing as we drove back to my house, and by the time we got there, I told him to leave. It was ugly. He cried, I cried. He begged me to let him stay, and to just come cuddle with him and let this blow over. I was tempted because he's really great in every other way, but as the person with more relationship experience, I knew what I had to do. I said, one of the reasons this sucks so much is because you and I are almost right for each other. If I were 5 years younger, I probably would have stuck it out with you. I've known people who stayed in so-so relationships for years because there were just enough good things to balance out the bad. But I'm a grown woman now, and I can tell when something isn't quite right. I also said something along the lines of, you keep saying I'm the exception to all these rules about women, but what happens when I stop being the exception? What happens when I do something you don't like, and you decide that I'm exactly like the other women, actually? He argued with me, but when I asked him point blank if he thought I was right about us being close but not quite there, he admitted that he agreed. Then he packed up his stuff and left. To make all of this worse, I was his first everything. His first kiss, his first sexual partner, his first real girlfriend. The first girl to meet his family and spend the night, which was a huge deal. All of that. And now I've broken his heart. He sent me a really sweet goodbye text saying he's glad I was his first in so many ways and that he wishes me well, and I feel like a monster. I can't help wondering if I did the right thing. I gotta feel like it was probably for the best if he was driving her crazy with the arguing men versus women after only a month of knowing him. It's not like he showed any signs of stopping. I do feel like he took it remarkably well for someone being broken up with for the first time. But she did tell us he was almost perfect, so I guess I shouldn't expect him to act like a dick. Let's see what people think in the comments. I dated a guy like this for way longer than I should have, except he was woe is me, throw me a constant pity party, women hate nice guys, without the woman hating incel shit. Can absolutely confirm some of these men self-sabotage because they would rather be miserable. I would think everything is perfect and we were happy, and then he'd bring up something that happened months ago, or something he otherwise seemed completely fine with and tell me it was a problem. I'd make changes, and then he'd bring up something else. Rinse and repeat until he was to the point of complaining about stuff that made no sense. He'd be mad I didn't do laundry when I had come home from work and he already had it started. He would outright admit it wasn't that I wasn't doing the right thing, it was that I wasn't doing it his way and when he wanted it done. Basically, because he couldn't find any real faults between us, or in how I was as a partner, he made shit up to fight about. It was a miserable way to live, and I hated him by the end of it. Hey, someone transcribed the story down here. I guess I just did it for no reason. Oh well. I don't understand this guy's logic. Complaining about girls being hard to date while having a girlfriend is like complaining about the sea only being filled with garbage, meanwhile you're holding a pearl in your hand. Instead of realizing things aren't as bad as he convinced himself they were, he just doubled down and lost the happiness he managed to find. I just hope for his sake that he learned his lesson, and that he won't go even further down the nice guy path because he got broken up with. Yeah, you never know what to expect with these guys sometimes. Anyway, I think that's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about the nice guys or my content in general, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I'll be reading them while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for similar content. Let's make the push to 25K, am I right? Big thanks also to my awesome patrons who support me more directly over on Patreon. I really appreciate it, as always. I will be back soon with more stories and probably Russell Greer's book too. Have a great day, everyone, and don't let anyone guilt trip you with a crying picture. Oh yeah, check it out, Lucas tried this too.